This video is going to be me building a tube bender. Let me be clear, this is not a how-to. If anything, it's a how not to. I designed this whole thing in SolidWorks first and got the drive arm parts, pivot plates and jack mounting tabs laser cut. The rest of the frame is 50 by 50 by 2mm SHS. If I did this again, I'd do it quite a bit differently, but I'll get to that later. Here I'm welding the first bits of the drive arm together. This is all 10mm plate, so it's super beefy. I did the two halves, put the joiny bit in the middle and tacked that all together. I'm speeding up and cutting out a lot of the welding footage because there was literally hours, but you're not missing anything. Next I got the two long tubes and traced on the shape of the main die pivots to cut out. These are going to be the two main frame uprights which hold both the main die and the follower die. I welded those pivots in and moved on to the base. I cut angles on the ends of two tubes. These are where the wheels are going to go. I made up a sort of jig with other parts of the frame to get it off the concrete floor, and then set up the hydraulic jack mounting tabs ready to weld on. After that, I welded all the other parts of the base together. I chucked the main uprights up and tested out the jack on the drive arm. I tacked those in and then cut the diagonal tubes to length. Time for a whole bunch more welding. With the whole frame now welded together, the last step was to drill the holes for the follower dies. I only have two sizes of dies at the moment, so I figured I'd just drill the holes for those sizes and then drill more holes as I get more dies. Little did I realise that Past Jack is a gigantic dum-dum for making that design choice, and of course I drilled the first holes in the wrong spot. With the follower die on that angle, there was no way I'd be able to get the tube clamp on before the drive arms hit the follower pin. Not one to give up though, I doubled down on my error by deciding to make the whole thing adjustable. I figured, hey, I'm expecting to get two more die sizes, wouldn't it be great if I already had mounting holes in place? And by holes I mean a gigantic slot and the whole thing went up and down on big threaded adjusters. Anyway, spoilers, this didn't work either. But not really because it couldn't work, it just didn't work the way I did it, and I'll explain that at the end. Alrighty, so it's about 6 months later now, and as you can see, I've just cut out quite a lot of steel. So, the plan, I had these parts laser cut. The plan is now to weld these in on the insides, here and here, and then the follower die pivot will go through these holes. I just bought a MIG welder this week, so hopefully doing all this will be much quicker now instead of taking it all like I did before. So hopefully I can now get back to where I was pretty quickly, fill all this in, and bend some tubes. With my new MIG welder, I tacked the new mounting plates into place where the inside of the tubes used to be. These are 10 or 12 mil thick as well. I also had some 5 mil ones cut with the same holes but slightly longer. They were intended to go on the outside of the tubes with the holes concentric, but I realised it'd probably be a nightmare to drill more holes for new dies if I ever have to. So I welded those on the front instead and left the outsides open. I filled in the rest of the holes with 5 mil flat bar and welded the whole thing up. And finally, only 7 months after starting, the thing bends tubes. This one is 1 3/4" roll cage tubing and it's embarrassingly quite a workout to bend, so maybe air over hydraulic conversion coming soon? Anyway, I should explain what went wrong with this build and how I'd do it differently now. If we watch that one clip back in real time, there's a point where I'm jacking for ages and nothing seems to happen. What is happening is that the follower die pivot pin is bending. Now there's 2 reasons for this. The first is it's just mild steel, and the second is really obvious in hindsight. If we draw a quick section view, before, the pin was touching the inner wall of both tubes, and the force was going straight down into the frame at these points, which is about 100 mil apart. Then, when I cut the slot out and welded the threaded adjusters onto the outside of the tubes, that put those supporting points about 220 millimeters apart. This massively increased the bending stress, and the pin obviously agreed. The solution to this problem is obvious enough then. Just move the support points back closer together, which is what I did the second time around with those big plates. I also changed the follower die pivot pin to 4140 instead of mild steel just to make sure, because of the much higher tensile strength. The reason I said earlier that the adjustment mechanism could work is because in theory you could design it so the supporting points are close together, probably using C-channel instead of tube for the main uprights. If you want to try that, then cool, but really the better way would just be buy the dies you need and make sure you can fit them before you build the bender. So, all up I spent about $300 building this bender, not including the dies. The fully manual bender from the company I bought my dies from is about $850. And their air over hydraulic bender is a bit over $2,000. My bender currently uses a $70 eBay 8-ton hydraulic ram, and I can upgrade that to air for about $150. So it works out pretty cheap overall. If you're thinking of building your own bender and are looking for inspiration, 90% of my research was just Googling vertical tube benders and scrolling through images. The reason I went for a vertical bender and not a more common horizontal design is basically an issue of space. I have a small shed, it's only 6 meters by 6 meters, and I've got a car in there too. As far as I know, all of the horizontal bender designs require it to be bolted to the floor, and on top of that, there's the issue of material outfeed as well. With the vertical design, all of the bending force is reacted through the frame, so you can put it on wheels and roll it around, push it into a corner if you don't need it, or even take it outside to bend really long stuff. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.